It's like my OBS is like getting bogged down real bad. I don't know why. Oh boy. It's eating up all the CPU.
Chrome? Is it Chrome?
Google. Old man Google. Eating up all the CPU bandwidth, and I would have gotten away with it too. Weren't for you meddling task manager. Welcome to the Good Games Podcast. My name is James.
I'm Leo.
And I'm Justin.
Hey, if things look a little different, we are experimenting with some new technology, some new recording techniques. You know us, we're always trying to improve and make things better. So hopefully it's better and not much worse.
Usually
see.
experimentation comes with a certain amount of failures.
Right.
And
Yeah, we're learning. Right. We're learning.
Yeah.
Eventually we'll get there. How are you guys?
Good. Today's a very important day.
Oh,
history today.
Today is a very important day.
It is the 20th of January.
Today is the day that Phillip Rivers retired from the NFL.
Yep. So important.
Very momentous. Very momentous. History will long remember the day that Phillip Rivers declared his retirement. Yeah. No, a new president was just inaugurated. So, hooray! We don't have to talk about Donald Trump ever again. Hooray!
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good for entertainment value, but yeah.
Yeah. But we got our first female vice president, so that's exciting.
There you go.
Some big changes going on. So
yeah, man.
Yeah. And an episode of Good Games Podcast was.
That's right. That's the most important thing that happened. History will long remember whatever episode this is, 65. I don't know. History will long remember this very important episode of the Good Games Podcast. It's the episode where we discuss 999 and our most anticipated games of the new year. It's a new year. It's 2021, guys. It's we're most of the way through January, and we're finally talking about what we're excited about in 2021.
Yeah.
But first, 999. So
we've talked about this game a lot.
You and I have played through this game before, Leo. Justin, how far did you get?
I got 2 endings so far.
Okay.
I know that doesn't sound like much, but so pretty much I played through like the first like kind of passive route, which was just kind of agree with everybody, which was probably the worst route you can take in that game, which was like we're just gonna fucking stab you in the back at the end route. Then I changed it up a little bit to be kind of an asshole on a couple of the doors, and I got I like how the achievement marked it was we all died by a yellow submarine.
Oh yeah.
I like the Beatles reference.
Yeah.
And that was about it. But I got the gist of what's going on.
Yeah, I mean you know all the characters, you know the plot.
If I were to say what this game is, it's escape rooms with narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean point and click escape rooms. If you remember the old like point and click flash game escape rooms from like Newgrounds or Armor Games, like that's what it kind of reminds me of a bit. Yeah. But you have narrative. You have a lot of narrative. You have characters. You have decisions you can make, choices that essentially determine what rooms you can go into and what like route in the story you take. And I know there's eventually a true ending, but I assume you have to experience all possible endings, I'm assuming.
Not all possible endings. You have to get at least one other ending to get the true ending. Okay. But yeah, that's a very good analogy, I guess. It's a lot of escape rooms with a lot of backstory. I always say it's if the movie Saw was an anime. That's my one sentence summary.
Like Saw meets anime. Yeah,
it's very anime, especially now because the remake now has voice acting, right? Where it didn't have it,
Yes,
the game didn't have it before.
That's new.
Yes.
For me. Yeah.
That's interesting. I love the like every ... in the game is huh?
That's funny.
Anime.
I've been playing the game with here. Okay, I played the first 2 games. The original game had no voice acting. The original release of the original 999 had no voice acting. The sequel to this game did have voice acting. The third game in this game also had voice acting, and I hated the voice actor they picked for Junpei, who is the main character.
Yeah.
So when I replayed this time around, I went with the Japanese audio.
Wow.
So I don't. So what did you think of the voice acting, Leo, as someone who has played the original without voice acting?
It was very odd going from no voice acting to voice acting, but I think that was more of a factor of, having just a familiarity with reading everything in my own voice. And so I don't think the voice acting was particularly bad. But it was, it was very anime-y. So there was sort of it's always weird, it's very unique to anime and how a certain, like, I don't know, emotions don't translate the same in text form from Japanese to English. So, but I thought it did a decent job. It was like Justin said, it's like watching an anime, like that level of voice acting. It was fun.
The other interesting change about the remake, and I guess we're going over differences between the original and the remake. The other interesting change about the remake is there's 2 different ways you can play this game. You can play it in the original novel style, where you get a lot of the description of the scenery and what the characters are thinking, and like Junpei's inner monologue, and like there's a lot more elaboration and description of things. Or you can play it more like the second game, where it's like a visual novel and it's almost exclusively dialogue where the characters are talking to each other, and you get none of the like scenery description, almost none of the scenery description and like Junpei's inner monologue or whatever. So which style did you play? Did you play the visual novel or the like novel style?
Which one is the one that's not like advanced?
I think they call it ADV.
They call it advanced.
They call it adventure. That's what they call it, adventure mode.
Okay, I just saw ADV. I did not that.
Oh, okay,
so
that's interesting. So perfect. So you did the original novel. I was like, hey, I played the original novel, so I went with just the adventure mode, which just has the dialogue.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like the extra context. And I mean, it was familiar, but you know what? It had been a long time since I actually like played through the game, so like I actually had forgotten quite a bit about it. So I was actually just enjoying like sort of revisiting what I'd done before. So yeah, I just stuck with that.
Yeah, same. I had forgotten a lot of the game. Weirdly, I played the games in order, 1, 2, and then 3. I remembered most of the first game. I am now almost done with the second game, and I move on to the third game. I remembered most of the first game. I remember about half of the second. I remember none of the third game. Anyway. But there were bits and pieces of the first game I'd completely forgotten.
I won't go into huge spoilers for Justin's sake, since I think he's probably going to enjoy this.
Let's go. Once we're done with the general overview, let's draw a line and then go full spoiler.
Okay. Because that's
fine.
That's the podcast
again.
Way.
Like, I've seen you play it before, James. I know the premise. I know the story. I know the whole point is that the whole thing you figure out, like, kind of, I guess, midway through whatever storyline you're going through, is that you realize that Zero has to be Zero, who's the protagonist.
Yeah, Zero is basically Jigsaw from the Saw movies. Yeah, he's the one who kidnaps everyone.
Yeah, you realize at some point that he is amongst one of you guys, one of the 9 people. So the idea at that point is you're trying to figure out who is it, like who did all this, and you're finding out backstory, and you're finding out everyone else's backstory, and it kind of brings it together. So it's like I don't see it as much of a spoiler. I like to make my little guesses, but you don't have to tell me the ending. You can just
okay.
That's
before we
why
get
I
there,
brought it up, though.
Yeah. Before we get there, I want. Okay, should we give like a general story overview? I don't know.
I mean, It's kind of complicated.
So, okay, the very, very high level.
Which is my point.
The very high level gist is that 9 people get kidnapped. They wake up in, basically Saw, the movie Saw. For those who haven't seen Saw, I don't know. It's like a you wake up in basically like a escape room. You have to solve puzzles to get. Anyway,
but it wasn't exactly Saw because you don't have to you're meant to escape safely from wherever you wake up from. So
you realize that the main character Junpei, is trapped on a sinking ship with 8 other people, and anyway, you learn that this person Zero has kidnapped you, and he's set up all of these weird death puzzle games, and you have to solve them for some unknown reason at the time. And you have 9 hours to solve this before the ship is going to sink underwater and everyone dies. So that's the 9 hours, 9 persons, and there are 9 numbered doors somewhere on the ship. There's these hidden doors that have been spray painted with numbers. And the whole weird thing of the game is everyone's wearing these bracelets, and the bracelets all have numbers on them, 1 through 9. And in order to get through a specific door, you have to combine numbers with other people that equal the doors, what they call digital root. I don't know. Is that a real math term, digital root? I don't know. I've never heard of that before.
I never heard of it until this game, but I mean, I don't know if it's become a thing since the game, but it is on Google. It was
I think no, I took a class that was on algorithms and all that kind of stuff, and digital root did come up a couple times.
Okay.
But it wasn't a huge thing that I remembered. I quickly forgot digital roots.
So basically, digital root
number is obtained by an iterative process of summing digits on each iteration, using the result from the previous iteration to compute a digit sum. Yeah, it's a real thing.
Right. So as long as you have more than 1 digit, you just add those digits together and then keep going until you're left with just 1 digit. So anyway, you have to pair together with other people who are wearing the bracelets that have these numbers to make the digital route to enter the door that you want to go in. And if you don't have the right digital route, you can't open the door. And if you open the door and people who don't have the right bracelets go through, you find out that there's bombs that have been ingested, and the bracelet you're wearing is a detonator that sets off this bomb in your stomach, and you die. So, and then also if you break the rules of the game, you also die. And I can't remember what other rules there are other than don't go through the wrong door. Anyway,
believe it or not, if you follow the rules, you die.
Sometimes, yeah, you do die, because not only is Zero one of the 9 people, there is also a murderer among the 9 people, and in some endings you end up murdered. And here's one of the first twists: the murderer and Zero are not the same people.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I assume so.
Yeah. But okay, wait. Before we go any further, before we go any further, of the 9 characters, Justin, which did you think was Zero?
I was thinking Clover could have possibly been Zero, because there was just something about her that seemed off. Yeah, I would say she's either Zero or she's the person going around murdering people, because she kind of has both alibis to do so. She's kind of secluded. I mean, trying to decipher some of the backstory I already got. I wouldn't say it's not Seven, because Seven was an ex-cop, so I almost
Yep.
He's
so you got that
token good guy. Yeah.
So the cool thing. Okay. So maybe Clover is Zero. Who did you think the murderer was?
I was thinking, based on one of the endings, that it was possibly Kane.
Okay.
Or what's, I forget her name.
Kane, yeah. Her code name is June.
Codename June. Yeah. So yeah, that's the other thing, is everyone gave themselves code names, so they didn't
based on the number of their bracelet. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I felt like she was, because there was something. I don't know. I feel like there was a story where her and Junpei protected some animals and went on a murder like hunting for a murderer pretty much when they were kids, and I feel like maybe something with that stuck around with her, and then she became murderous in a way. I don't know. That's my
good theory. Good
okay.
theory.
That's my
here's my thing with this game. So I was thinking about it a lot as we talked about it for years and has brought it up. We've brought it up in the podcast before at some point and talked about how great it was. And I was getting ready to play this game, and I was like, I kind of already remember most of it. Like you go through, and you find out this and that. The thing is, everything Justin is learning by playing multiple endings in this game, to me, is just the tip of the iceberg, no pun intended, since it does take place on the Titanic replica ship. But it's like there's so much depth to this game that like everything Justin said is rooted in evidence and is totally correct. But then like they like peel an onion layer and they like throw a curveball like repeatedly through this story that by the time you get to like the later things we'll probably start to delve into, it is completely like batshit different than what you thought it was. Just
yeah.
So
okay. That was a very.
I didn't remember that until playing it again.
There's definitely
the
layers.
Game is really like, is just trying to play with you a lot and try to get you to like, is it him? No, it's got to be him. Her?
Oh,
maybe
so
it's her.
Many
I don't know.
So many.
Yeah, that was a very good analogy. There's definitely layers of an onion mystery that you keep peeling back, and you're like, oh, wait, there's another layer. Oh, now I get it. Oh, wait, there's another layer. Oh, now I get it. Like,
I mean, it's beautiful. It's a work of art what they've been able to do just with the writing in this story. Like, that's probably my biggest like pro for this game is like, my God, like who thought of this?
Yeah. I think let's draw the line in the sand and go into spoiler zone because there's a lot of things I want to talk about, and they all require.
There's a lot to unpack here.
There's a lot to unpack.
Well, don't worry, Justin. We'll probably lose you enough that you won't remember any of it.
Yeah. It's not going to make sense unless you go into great detail. So,
can I mention one thing though about this?
We're
going into a bit of a spoiler mode. This game has a lot of like weird like sex innuendo.
Yeah.
What like things going on?
Yeah. What did you think of that?
There's one scene where literally like June's talking about getting wet or like drowning. And Junpei thinks she's talking about like having an orgasm pretty much.
And
like it's this whole like it's like a 10-minute conversation in game when you're going through it.
There's a lot of talking in this game.
And he's like, and it's funny because Junpei's like, well, it doesn't really happen to guys. And she's like, what do you mean it doesn't happen to guys? It happens the same. It happens to everybody the same. He's like, well, I mean, for women, it's different. She's like, but how? And it's like, it goes into this whole fucking thing. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, there is a lot of weird like sexual innuendo, like tangents and whatever. It's something, by the way, that it's something that gets even more involved in the later games. There's like these weird that have nothing to do with the story, where it's like one character thinks one thing or one character thinks another thing, or like I don't know. It's weird. Yeah. Oh,
and
anyway,
the other thing is, there's an anime trope. There's an anime trope in there, which I never understood with anime, is that they call Lotus an old woman.
Oh, yeah.
I never understood.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like, it's like you put this sexy woman with her baps hanging out.
Yep.
And she's got big old
like,
devices.
It's like to be honest, I'd be going after her rather than June. I mean, she's showing off a lot, man. It's like, but they're like, and then they reference her as old lady. It's like, why is she an old lady? Like, I don't understand why. Well,
is that? Like the joke is kind of funny because like she doesn't look. She looks like the same age as some others. Yeah.
She looks pretty young. I mean, it's anime, so it's you don't have lines very much on the face. But anyway, sorry. That's my two things to take away from this game.
She was Oba-chan in my game, which I think is like old lady or old granny or something. Yeah. Anyway. So I guess let's go to the spoiler zone because I've got thoughts on some of the spoilery things. So it turns out that the person who kidnapped all 9 of these people was none other than Akane, which was Junpei's girlfriend? ?
Elementary school girlfriend.
And and the reason she does this is twofold. The first reason, which makes sort of the most sense, is she does it as revenge to get back at the people who kidnapped her and other young people.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah, 9 years ago.
I was like, she was probably one of the kids.
So let's simmer on that,
9
James.
years ago was like,
let's simmer on that aspect right there. So 9 years before the events of this game,
yes,
they had occurred already.
What?
Yeah, I mean, there was another
experiment that they were doing.
Thing. This is the second nonary game, which is the second time people have been kidnapped and forced to play Saw.
So, yeah, in the first iteration, it was 9 children, but also there was some other kids in sort of a different building, and there was this whole concept, this experiment that sort of talked about throughout the course of your learning a couple of different endings of this premise of like communication from like one set of people to another, or like over time, like rats going to the right exit, like each generation of rats learning about it.
And I love how they introduce that, because they use like real science, kind of.
It's sciencey.
And then they kind of just stretch it and take it one step further and one step further and one step further. And then you're like, hey, wait, when did we cross into total fucking bullshit? Like, they started science, and then they make it pseudoscience, and then before you know it, you're like, wait, this is total bullshit. What?
But I love that. I really like that because
no. Yeah, it sounds like I'm making fun of it. That's
it's so subtle, because you only get this bits of information between all these puzzles and all this craziness of trying to escape from the ship. And every once in a while, this character will be like, and then the music changes, and the character's like, "Oh, have you ever heard about this experiment?" And it's like, it just makes you go like, "Oh, like I want to Google that." Like, is that? Oh no, wait, what the hell am I doing?
No, a lot of that's real.
No, like, I know, but it's like
a lot of it's real, because I didn't know. Because it's like, because they're like at the very beginning of the game, they're like, oh, where are we? Like, this looks like the Titanic, but we can't be on the Titanic. That's something in the Pacific. And they're like, oh, did you know that there was a sister ship of the Titanic that was virtually exactly the same? And in the game, it was like the Britannic or something like that. And I looked that up. There is a real, actual replica of the Titanic that existed. That yeah.
And I think it was true that it ended up being used for as like a hospital ship or something like that.
Yeah, it was a hospital ship. It was a medical ship. So again, based on real life, like there was like grounded in facts, and then they just kind of stretch it.
They twist it a little bit, right?
Yeah, they twist it into more bullshit.
I love that.
Because I also remember hearing the whole thing the way they went into about like the Titanic had like they were carrying like the remains or stuff of like
the curse,
mummy,
the
curse of the mummy or whatever was on the Titanic.
Yeah,
that I'm pretty sure was true. I've heard that before when I heard it.
Okay.
Oh, I've heard it. I've heard, but it's not a mummy. It's like it's a mummy. It's just the coffin or like a.
It's like it's like they had stuff. They had some of the
artifacts,
trinkets from the tomb, artifacts. Thank you. The word.
But
so
anyway, so basically, to round it up back up to James's point, the first reason that Akane is Zero is to seek revenge on the people that were running that first iteration of the experiment, which is a couple of guys from a corporation.
Yes,
trying to develop this idea of telepathy, basically.
Yes, and I guess they couldn't like do legitimate science, so instead they kidnapped a bunch of kids and experimented on them.
Yeah, it's like pharmaceutical, crazy high-end pharmaceutical company kidnaps the 9 kids, throws them on a ship. I don't know if like they put them in as dangerous as a situation as Zero does.
Well, that's
like they probably because the point was just to try to see if they can control people in a way or something. I remember the experiment being something like that.
The reason they were conducting this experiment, as Leo was saying, was to test whether, because they had 9 kids on the ship, and then they had 9 kids on a replica of the ship, which is already a replica of the Titanic, that was just a big warehouse that they built in the middle of the desert. And then they were like, okay, we're going to have the kids in the desert solve these puzzles and then psychically transmit the information to the kids on the ship, who I guess didn't have all the clues or something. I don't know. It's a little ambiguous why they needed.
Where it starts to get a little weird.
Yeah. So they were basically conducting psychic experiments, I guess. they call it, what do they call it? The morphogenetic field or some bullshit in the game.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
so they were trying to
like-
conduct these psychic experiments. So that's the first reason.
But it works better when you are either
Yes,
in a
yes.
moment of epiphany or in
Yes.
danger.
Yes,
So
that's
the
what
danger has to be real. Yeah.
Yes, I forgot. That's one of the plot contrivances, is that you have to be in life-threatening danger because that somehow amplifies the psychic waves.
Hey, that I kind of like that little piece of information. I kind of get, because like as humans, you know, there's that sort of that trope that we've only used what percentage of our brain, and you know, there's that sixth sense we all sort of tap into at times, where adrenaline is, you know. So hey, I mean, I'm telling you, it's just rooted enough in like.
Yeah, I know. I love how they
seem like
yeah.
realistic.
It's science, and then it walks the science a little forward towards pseudoscience.
Yeah.
You gotta throw in the facts, and then you gotta work in your own facts.
Yeah.
You know,
I do like how they did that. So the second reason she does it is to save herself. The ending of the game,
accurate.
The ending of the game is actually a temporal paradox. They go full Star Trek.
Bro, nuts.
It's a time paradox.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
I want to break the news. Okay, so the 9 children that went through the game the first time, and you saw the story of the detective that went in to, like, you know, try and save them. He was researching the kids who'd gone missing. He saw like they'd gone missing in the newspaper and was trying to find them and all that. And then the story goes, the 9 kids went missing, and then they returned, and one of them had died.
Yes.
And okay. I haven't forgotten that part.
The one that died was actually Akane. Which if you think about it too much, it'll break your brain, because it doesn't make sense that she's already alive in the future but trying to save herself in the past. But if she's alive in the future, then you know she's already saved herself in the past. Whatever, it's a paradox. Yes. So
if you think about what a paradox is, that kind of makes sense.
Yes. So she is trying to use the second reason she sets up the second nonary game is to solve these puzzles exactly the same way as they were before, so that Junpei can psychically transmit the information to the puzzles back in time to save the younger version of Akane, which is very trippy and mind-breaking. Yeah.
Justin's face is perfect for like how I feel every time with this.
I don't know how I feel about the paradox ending. That was kind of weird. What did you think, Leo?
So that was kind of the point I was getting to, is like I remembered sort of the fact that, you know, Akane was 0, and I remembered we haven't gone into who the murderer is yet.
Yes.
But it's relevant. And so, you know, I remembered that part of the story. And then when I got into, like, again, like as I got deeper down the rabbit hole, I started remembering how much I blocked away all this stuff, because it just was like over my head when I played that. I was like, what is going on? Like, it's like Akane is 0. Akane is dead. Akane is really like Junpei in his head. And like, I didn't mean to rhyme, but like, it's
that was
crazy.
Rhyme. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So, you referenced there being a killer among the 9. The killer among the 9 is none other than the CEO of Cradle Pharmaceuticals, the very person Akane is trying to exact revenge upon. And
can I guess?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Was it person number 9?
Well,
good guess.
Good guess.
Okay.
Yeah, good guess, because person number 9 was the right-hand man of person number 1. Ace is the CEO of Cradle Pharmaceuticals. His right-hand man, I can't remember what his name, Nijima or something like that.
Kind of just skim the names.
Yeah. He was his right-hand man. Depending on which, we haven't even talked about the other weird thing about this game is that there's multiple endings and there's actually multiple timelines. So depending on which timeline you go, you'll also see 2 other bodies, and those other dead bodies are also members of Cradle Pharmaceuticals. There was like some guy who was financing this experiment, and then there was another guy who I can't fucking remember. Anyway, they're all members of Cradle Pharmaceuticals, and Akane set the game up so that she could get Ace to kill all of the people who are also members of Cradle Pharmaceuticals, because Ace also suffers from prosopagnosia.
Aprophosia.
I don't know.
Aproposia. I'm pretty sure it's it.
No, it starts with pro. It's prosopagnosia.
Apro. It's aproposia. It starts with an A, right? No.
Does it start with an A? In the Japanese, it started with a pro. Anyway, whatever. It's a disease that is apparently, again, rooted in reality. This is a real disease where people can't distinguish other people's faces.
So bizarre.
Yeah, and apparently that's a real thing, a real disease. And normally it happens from some sort of brain damage or traumatic event or something. But apparently, Ace
right.
just
It doesn't start with an A. It's propagnosia. Prosopagnosia.
Prosopagnosia. Okay, yeah.
Prosopagnosia,
But yeah, Ace can't tell people apart, which again is apparently
by
a real
their
disease. Yeah, and the way the game explains it is like, hey, have you ever looked at gone to the zoo and looked at like a bunch of zebras or a bunch of monkeys? Like, can you tell these monkeys apart? Like, maybe eventually, if you spend a lot of time with him, you can start telling them apart. But just like at first glance, they all look exactly the same. And that's how they explain this disease that Ace has. He can't tell anyone apart at first glance. So that's how Akane uses Ace to kill all of the other members of Cradle Pharmaceuticals. Which again, I was thinking about that. I don't know if that's going to hold up in court. I think Akane is still going away for a conspiracy to plot murder or something like that. There's no way she gets off scot-free. There's reality.
There's no court in this universe.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes. Also, she kidnaps a bunch of innocent ass people. Even if you make the leap to say like, okay, she has to kidnap she wants to exact revenge upon all these members of Cradle Pharmaceuticals. Even if you make the leap that she's like, okay, I have to kidnap Junpei because he's a psychic and can transmit the information. Why did she kidnap Clover or Snake or Lotus or like what?
Yeah,
or Seven.
Lotus was the mom of one of the kids that got originally kidnapped.
Yes.
Well, here's the thing: they're all connected to the original games in some
connected.
way.
They are.
So maybe she's just thinking like, "Yeah, they already almost died. Let's just,
let's force them to relive the trauma." Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, what a fucking asshole she is. First of all, there's no way she gets away scot-free in court. Second of all, even if you throw that out, she's still a fucking asshole for kidnapping all these innocent people.
Well, danger has to be real, man.
Yeah, but why she all the innocent fucking people? Why wouldn't the 8 other people just be members of Cradle Pharmaceuticals? Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
Another like weird plot thing I was thinking about.
It gets a little crazy, man. And then so that's kind of a subtle sort of secondary plot, is that all of these players are, some of them were in the Nonary Games Part 1 and still don't know, or were told not to voice that they know who people are.
That was the other weird thing. I didn't get that. I didn't understand that. So Akane basically blackmails Clover, right? No, she blackmails Snake.
Blackmails Snake, yeah.
Okay, the other thing is that Clover and Snake are brother and sister. So apparently, the psychics, if you're brother or sister, the psychic powers work better, they're stronger or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's like a thing with like twins. They say that twins are able to hear each other's thoughts, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
the sibling connection is strong. Makes it stronger.
I don't say that. Well, anyway, June, Akane's brother, is also in the game. Akane's brother is what's he in the English? Silver? Santa. Of course, he's always Santa. He's Santa in the Japanese version. Yes.
So the picture he was looking at was Akane.
It was her, yeah. He's the sister that died.
But that doesn't make any fucking sense because he's mourning the loss of his sister, who is still alive.
Yeah. That's what doesn't make sense.
Anyway,
But I kind of got the feeling that she wasn't like really there or something. Wasn't there? They said something where like she was just a projection.
I didn't understand that, and I think because she keeps having these weird like fevers.
Yeah,
and
it's like a Back to the Future moment where she starts like, I kind of like maybe she's like trying to
like she's starting to fade away. Like
the temporal thing is just sort of trying to bring her back or something.
I think that's what they were going for. Is like a Back to the Future. Yeah. Oh no, she's fading away.
Right.
Yeah. But I can't even remember where I was going with that. Oh, anyway, Santa.
Their sisters. Oh yeah, so they all know each other.
Yes.
Well, they all were in the games together, right? Santa, Akane, Snake, Clover, and even the detective, Seven.
I know where I was going with that.
Saw them all.
Yeah. First of all, I don't get what. Okay, so she blackmails Snake and says you have to keep quiet about why you're here, and you can't say that you're Clover's brother, which doesn't make any sense. But then I don't understand why she blackmailed Snake and not Clover.
Right.
Because
otherwise the player would not get that information.
It's like a weird plot contrivance that like, why wouldn't she like, even if you're gonna make that plot contrivance, just have her blackmail everyone. Like, why does she only blackmail certain people? Anyway, and then it doesn't. The other plot contrivance is that Snake is blind because then otherwise, I guess, then he would be able to recognize Ace or something. No, he does know who Ace is,
and that's he would be able to recognize Santa.
That's why she blackmails Snake and says you can't say who Ace is. But
yeah.
That's right, because Clover was in. That's why she. Okay, it just
it's all the peels are all coming together.
No, she had. Clover wasn't in the experiment with Snake.
She was in the headquarters.
Right, but Snake would have recognized Ace, so she had to blackmail Snake to say, "Don't reveal who Ace is."
Right.
I got it. Okay.
But what's interesting is Snake also does not recognize Santa, who they were like in literally like working together with.
Yes, but the weird plot contrivance for that is that Santa was a little kid and now he's gone through puberty and now his voice changed. Yeah. So why would a blind man recognize? Anyway,
it's crazy, man. It gets really, it goes up its ass in terms of plot.
Oh yeah. I enjoyed it though. It was good. And by the way, Akane's brother Aoi, I guess is his real name. He's in on it too. He's not Zero, but he's helping Akane, whatever, complete all of the games and helping her at every turn.
Pretty much.
So the one thing I do really like about this game is you can figure out almost with any ending that you get. There are some endings. Okay, rewind. Early in the game, Snake goes missing, right?
Right.
I think that happens in every timeline. Snake goes missing, and you have to convince Clover that you have to convince her that because she immediately becomes distrustful of everyone as soon as Snake goes missing. You have to convince her that it's not you, which you do, and then you have to tell her. You have to convince her that somebody else is innocent. Anyway. In some timelines, Clover is actually the killer because she thinks that Snake is dead and wants to just kill everyone because she doesn't exactly know who did it. Anyway.
Okay, so that was like half right.
Yeah, you're
yes. In other timelines, if you convince Clover that you're innocent and that somebody else is innocent, I can't remember who she suspects. I know who she suspects because she does the math. Because Snake is killed in the number 3 door. And in order to get a digital root, you have to add, she thinks that 2 people are in on it. And you have to add 2 numbers to 2, which is Snake's number, in order to get 3, the digital root. And she thinks that it's 7 and Lotus. And you have to convince her that 7 is innocent, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, but really what happened, you can do the math and figure this out yourself, who the killer is. Really what happened is that Ace did it by himself, but the thing that happens early on in the game is the guy with the 9 bracelet dies because he violates the rules. So Ace number 1 bracelet, kills Snake with the 2 bracelet to get 3, but adds 9 to 3 to get 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. So Ace stole the 9 bracelet and killed Snake in the 3 door, and you can figure that out if you remember.
So when I got that, I was like calculating it. And I was like, all right, I was just punching it in and see like, all right, who could potentially be. I was like, well, I wonder if you can take the bracelets. I was like, I wonder if someone took 9's bracelet. So what would have to go with 9? And I saw that it was 1. I was like, huh. I was like, okay, that's probably what it's gonna be. So I kind of
you're getting there. You're getting there. Now, what's interesting about that is I don't know if I just play lots of like escape room puzzles or something, but like I like my first playthrough ever of this game, I was like, I'm going through that freaking door because I want that bracelet. Like, and then the character like never, he looks at it and then like just how do you not go pick it up?
No one thinks to pick up the bracelet except for
I
Ace,
wonder
the
too.
killer,
I feel like part of it is that you're supposed to, as the player, not really understand how that technology would work. And I'm like, there's no way that like they're actually scanning your fingerprints. Like it's definitely just like NFC, like RFID or something, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, so I just immediately thought like, oh, get that bracelet. That's gonna be part of the puzzle.
Yeah. One of the big revelations in the game was like, oh, you can scan the door with the bracelet without someone's handprint. It's like, oh yeah, that's just what I assumed from the get-go. I never thought.
That's obvious. Yeah,
they don't imply that. They don't imply that initially. You have to kind of almost figure that out from the rules that Zero gives you initially.
Yeah. Now, I will say though that is probably what I love the most about this game. Like the number one thing is it's called 999. Yeah. It's the nonary game. There's the 9 bracelets. There's the puzzles that featured 9 in like almost every way you can imagine. The whole concept of the doors, and you need a minimum of 3 people to go through the door, and so that the 9 bracelet is special because you can just add it to any combination of 2 people to keep the same. Like I don't know. I just the symbolism that they went for. It's really cool how like they found all these different ways to include it.
Yeah. I just like that if you do the math, you can figure out who the killer is. Because also in other endings, in certain timelines, you'll find a 0 bracelet. And in those timelines, Lotus will usually end up dead. And then as Junpei dies, because he gets stabbed in the back, he's like, oh, who would benefit the most from Lotus's bracelet? If you assume that Ace also has the 0 bracelet, you can do 1 plus 0 plus 8 to get 9, and then also figure out that way that Ace is the killer. So there's multiple different ways.
But then later you find out that the 0 bracelet is actually an O.
Yes, the 0 is actually a 6. Which, because in one ending, Snake theorizes that June's bracelet is upside down, and instead of a 6, it's a 9. And then he also theorizes something else. I'm like, is this really what the answer is? That's so fucking stupid. But no, the only bracelet that they play games with, I think, is the 0 bracelet, which is supposed to be a 6, which is how you figure out that June is 0, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because if you add the 0 bracelet to the 3 bracelet, you get the 9, and that's why Santa always wants to bring I forgot. Anyway,
Santa always wants to bring presents for the good boys and girls.
Is it supposed to be like? Is it supposed to be like the 0 was like the one bracelet, like the bracelet they had to kind of get them through other doors? Like, is that?
No, they find a 0 bracelet, and everyone's like, "What the fuck? Why is there a 0 bracelet?" The only purpose of the 0 bracelet, I think, is to okay. If you don't know that the 0 is actually a 6, you can use that math to figure out that Ace is the killer. If you do know that the 0 is a 6, it's a hint that that June is actually 0 because she wears the 6 bracelet.
Got it.
Yeah.
No, I don't got it, but got it.
It's crazy.
I don't understand at all what's going on.
There's so much to this, man. And I will say what I like about like this version of the game, as opposed to the original, is that they added the this flow chart from the future games. So originally when you played this game, you had to play it again, like to get these endings, like all the way through. Skip. I hated that part.
The original version of the game did not have that flow chart where you could just skip to any point.
Right.
You had to like restart the whole fucking game.
The whole game. Write down what decisions were you made before, and like it was asinine. After the original game, they added this flowchart so you can go to specific choices for the doors and specific events and see which events you've gone through which tree. Oh, by the way, that whole flowchart, like concept, is apparently, given to you by your connection through, Akane. So she's helping Junpei to see the flows of time and giving him the numbers from the other timelines that he needs to unlock the coffin and stuff like.
That's something they greatly expand upon in the sequel, because the sequel is all about, there's like 30 or 40 different endings in the second game.
That one looked insane. Like I remember I didn't get like all the endings. I stopped.
That's kind of the problem. That's one of the problems of the second game, is it's way too long and there's way too many endings, and the game just kind of destroys its own pace because you can't remember all. You're like, oh, I'm supposed to remember this from this ending and take it to this timeline to get this and this.
It's too much.
It's like, fuck it. It's too much. Yeah. The beauty of one of the great things about this game is it's a good mystery, but it's, there's a lot of it, but it's still relatively.
It has layers, but it's a small onion.
You can kind of hold it all in your brain, barely. The second game, it's impossible to hold that whole game in your brain. You're
that's key, James. Yes. I think they hit the mark with this game, and I love of the whole series. This is the only game I really like, to be honest. Like I didn't get into the sequels at all. I tried. It was just too much. And I get it. They're like, oh, we made a great game. Let's let's make the exponential version of it. That's what the people want, but it's not what I want. Like this game is the right size. And I love the design, and I love the interplay of the stories and all the complexity within the confines of of where
this is at. What maybe I would say this is maybe between a 10 to 20 hour game. The sequel is like a 40 to 50 hour game, and it's too much.
I don't know if I could do this kind of game.
Yes, exactly.
40 to 50 hours.
Exactly. It's
like,
too much.
That's crazy.
The thing is like you're not visiting it all that much too. Like, if you're not playing it like back to back to back to back, I could imagine like a game that's that long where you have to remember memory. You come back and go like, wait a second, what is like? At least this is like it's retainable. It's small enough.
Exactly.
It's complicated just enough, but small enough to.
I mean, I remember just looking at the flowchart in a game. It's a cool concept, the flowchart, and the first time I saw it, I was, oh, cool, I can jump around. Then you like zoom out. Did you see like
you
all
see the whole thing?
This tree of question mark? Fuck. I was like, nope, I'm done with this shit. Take my shitty ending.
There's a definite trajectory to these games, with 999 definitely being the best of the three. Yeah,
fantastic game. Really,
play the original before you attempt to play any of the sequels, especially because information in the original is vital to understanding anything that happens in the sequels. Anyway, it's good. It's trippy. It's mind blowing. It's a good mystery story. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's about it, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a good game. It's good.
Yeah, if you like point and clicks, if you like escaping rooms, like that's what it brings me back to is those old
Flash
games.
It's very escape room feel. Actually, part of me, except for just like the crazy story, Taryn really loves escape rooms and stuff, like that sort of like puzzle. And the puzzles are, they're fun, like little quick adventure puzzles. I think that it's something you could probably play with someone who's not super into games.
Mm-hmm.
Go through the puzzles together and stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely a game you could play with like a significant other or something like that.
Yeah, like to watch the story and stuff. Yeah,
right. Yeah. And then they're like, "Wait, what's going on?
Okay, so hold on. You're telling me in the original game, you had to play through the whole fucking thing again?
Yeah.
Yes.
And do all the rooms again?
Yes. Yeah. Well, there's if you think about it, there's only I think 1 or 2 rooms that actually. I know you have to replay the first room, but depending on which decisions you make, you actually go through different doors and there's different escape rooms.
Yeah, so it's enjoyable the whole time.
But there is a great deal of information that you end up hearing multiple times, and you're just like, skip.
Oh my god, just tapping.
That I can imagine getting a bit annoying.
Yes. Thankfully, they have both a fast forward in the remake and also the timeline skip around feature.
Yep.
Yeah.
By the way, I could not figure. I'm not playing with the gamepad. I could not figure how to use the stupid fast forward.
Oh, I don't know. I was just pressing X. I don't know what it is on keyboard.
I don't understand. It's there in the bottom right and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was clicking on it too, and it wasn't doing anything.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's super nice because well, it's critical in the second game, but in the first game, I don't know how useful it is. In the second game, it's critical because characters end up repeating dialogue almost no matter which timeline you take, and there's like there's like 30 different fucking timelines in the second game, and there's a certain amount of repeat dialogue. The fast forward feature is awesome because it'll fast forward through. The game knows what dialogue you've already heard.
Yeah,
so
it just takes you to ones you haven't.
And then it'll stop when it hits a point of new dialogue.
Yeah, it'd be nice to make that feature work.
I don't know what button it is on keyboard, but it is a very nice feature, especially in the second game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It must be key map.
Maybe it is working for you guys because maybe you were hitting fast forward, but it was auto stopping because it knew that you hadn't seen the dialogue yet.
Oh no, there was definitely like with
it was not like I've seen it. I was like, I don't need to see this again.
Yeah, it just wasn't working.
Yeah,
I think maybe there's a key mapping on it, but there's the UI button doesn't work. Like,
gotcha.
Maybe there's like a key I gotta press because it's like all the actions on the screen are mapped to certain keys, and those.
Got it.
Maybe it's just like the right key. Maybe it's just hit right.
I think I tried that, but that was like opening like my calculator or something stupid. I don't know. Yeah.
All right, we went pretty long on that. Let's blast through our top 5.
Well, this should be quick.
Yeah.
Wait, promote the podcast.
Oh, hey, this is a great podcast, right? Isn't this great? Don't you love it? You love it. You know you fucking love it. You love us. You love us, and you can support us too because you love us so much. You love us so much. You can support us on Patreon. You can support us for free by just giving us likes and thumbs up and subscribe and do all those other good things. We're also on Discord, right, Leo? You can join us on Discord and talk to us. And
I might have tied that to. I may have tied Discord membership to being a Patreon.
Well, there you go. Find us on Patreon, Cast, and join our Discord. Yeah, there you go. So. Top 5 games we're looking forward to in 2021. What do you guys got?
Well, like I said, I think this will be a quick one because I don't have 5 games to look forward to.
Oh, okay. What do you got?
Hey, guess what? Neither do I.
Oh,
I'll
admit the calendar is looking pretty blank in 2021.
It's pretty blank.
Yeah, I have ones that like I hope come out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
same.
I mean, it's like. I know there are ones coming out.
I have one that I'm sure is coming out that I'm very excited to see, and I have one that I was at the time of the original. We planned to do this recording a couple days ago. It would have been released this month. Now it's already released.
Oh,
so that is
it's fine.
Yeah. So Hitman 3.
Hitman 3. Have you been playing?
I have not got a chance to start it yet, but I'm
forward to it. That's one.
I am. That's one. I'm a big fan of all the Hitman games. I played through all of them at least once.
So I'm assuming that Breath of the Wild 2 is on all of our lists, right? We're all hoping.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, that can
happen. Obviously. Come on. All right. Does anyone have? I had 5. It took me a while to come up with 5, but
I didn't even try.
I went through the list 3 times of like what's said to be released, and I'm like, none of these are like tickling my fancy.
Yeah,
it's like Far Cry 6. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, okay, that's fine. I mean, I'm not excited for it, but okay. But no, so yeah, Breath of the Wild is definitely on mine. I'm pretty sure probably one you might have on your list, James. One that actually just got announced not that long ago, Pokemon Snap.
I don't have it on my.
Yeah, well, if Pokemon Snap came out in 2021, I would be excited about that. But I don't know. Is it really? Oh, okay. Add that to my list.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom.
It's coming out in April. April.
That's 3 for me. That's 3 for me. There we go.
So next month is Bravely Default 2. I'm looking forward to that. The original had a great soundtrack. I like the original. Didn't finish the original, but I've been looking for like a good JRPG to sink my teeth into. So hopefully that game's going to be good.
That's not Final Fantasy.
Well, I mean, it basically is. It's Final Fantasy in everything but name. Yeah. I got Elden Ring, which is the collaboration between George R.R. Martin and FromSoft. Maybe that's going to come out next year. I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but hey, if it does, cool.
Okay.
Resident Evil 8 looks pretty good. I'm excited for Resident Evil 8.
Okay. Yeah.
So one I'm super duper fucking excited for is Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Oh.
I am
I haven't
super
heard about that.
fucking stoked for that game because I love the original Hollow Knight. So I don't know if they've actually confirmed 2021, but I think from what I've seen, they're fairly far along. So that's a good chance it's coming out in 2021. And then obviously Breath of the Wild 2. That rounds out my 5. Do you guys want to actually put together a 5?
I mean, only other mention on my list was the new Mario 3D World, only because I heard it's potentially going to have online play.
They've confirmed it. It will have online.
Oh, it is confirmed.
Yes,
okay,
confirmed. So we're gonna play. That's coming out next month. Also, I think that comes out right before Bravely Default. So you and I are gonna be playing some fucking Mario next month, huh?
Yeah.
No, I was looking forward.
I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I've been looking forward to that too. I didn't put it on my list only because it's a remake. Whatever.
Yeah, but it's online now. I don't know. Makes it more convenient
and
as opposed to like when we see each other.
Yeah.
But I am hoping for one release that hasn't been mentioned. Prime 4. Come on. Where's Prime 4? Let's go. There's one game I've been waiting for.
I hope it comes out this year too.
I hope at least we hear something about it.
Right. Yeah. I think we'll hear.
I need a Metroid game.
This is Metroid Prime. Okay. Yeah. So I don't really.
I don't know.
It's been too long.
They've been so quiet about that game. I'm worried.
They announced it. They brought up the logo, and we even heard, it went back to whatever the studio was.
Retro.
Well,
they restarted it when they restarted that. What, like 3 years ago now?
Yeah, that was like 3 years ago. It was roughly when you moved.
Which time did I move?
Yeah, it's been a couple times.
No, to this place, I think. No. Sorry.
When I moved to like Tampa from St. Pete.
I think so. Yeah, it was something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a while ago.
Okay, it was like 3 years ago. Yeah.
And we heard that it was. Yeah. So it's like, come on, Nintendo or Retro or somebody, say something. Give us a little bit of a taste.
Yeah.
Well, I can kind of come up with 4. I mean, so my number 1 that I'm really, really excited for is Ashes of Creation. It is an upcoming. That's an upcoming MMO official release. It's been out in like an alpha or like beta setting, but I've not touched it. It's kind of like being talked about as the next sort of really, really good MMORPG that features a lot of sort of player-run economies and really relevant crafting and all that kind of stuff. And I always like to sink my teeth into a good MMO at least for a couple months. So that's the one that like I've been sort of saving myself for in terms of MMO games. Like I'm not playing like the new WoW or whatever. Like I'm just kind of holding off on getting into an MMO until that one comes out.
So you're more excited for that than Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, I would say Breath of the Wild I didn't even consider.
Are you oh you didn't consider it, but you're a Breath of the Wild guy, right?
Yeah, I mean I like the Breath of the Wild. I'm not like I played it. I mean it's good. I loved it. It was a great game. It was our first episode. I had said nothing but great things about it. But like I'm not like after that I haven't like
got it.
Thought about it really ever. But the next one when it comes out, sure I'll play it. The second one was a Hitman. The third, I guess I will add Pokemon Snap because that was a relatively new finding for me, and I am very excited for Pokemon Snap. And then I didn't even those. I mean, that was my only official list, but just to throw a fourth one on there to get as close as I can to 5, Amazon's new release coming out, New World. I'm moderately interested in it. I wouldn't even say that I'm excited for this game, but I am. It is one I will play just because, I want to see what Amazon makes.
I looked over,
see how they do,
and we both had the same confused look.
Amazon,
yeah. You guys didn't hear about this? I heard about it last year. It's called New World.
Yeah.
It's another MMO, but it's created by Amazon Games, and I remember seeing that and being like, wow, that's weird. So I just out of curiosity, that is a game I do plan on playing this year.
Okay. All right. Cool.
But I definitely cannot come up with a 5.
Do we want to come up with a collaborative 5 or fuck it?
We could try.
Number 1's definitely Breath of the Wild, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm sure. Breath of the Wild.
Number 2.
Leo seems so disappointed.
Number 2, Pokemon Snap?
Yeah. Pokemon Snap.
I would say only Pokemon Snap because
I am gonna play the shit out of Pokemon Snap, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it. My wife's gonna play it, and I also feel like why so long? The first Pokemon Snap was so popular.
Yeah,
I don't understand why they waited.
It's got to be for a reason. It's gonna have 9 Pokemon that are special, and then if you find out about the 9 Pokemon, it's actually a time paradox. With the original Pokemon
has to go back to save itself.
You got to go back to the first Pokemon Snap.
You don't realize that Pikachu died.
Alter the timeline. Yeah. Also, Metroid Prime 4. Why so long? That's back to save herself. I don't know what else. Hollow Knight Silk Song. Am I the only one who's super fucking amped?
No, yeah, I could have that. I didn't even realize that was coming out this year.
Oh, it's coming. Yeah. It's coming. What else? Mario, yeah.
Very Nintendo fanboy list right here.
I mean,
Nintendo's been on a roll, man.
Yeah, Nintendo's been on a roll. And then I looked back at last year, and I was like, man, really, the only thing they put out was Animal Crossing, and it was my number 2 game, right? Fucking Clubhouse 51. No, it wasn't my number 2, but anyway, Clubhouse 51. But I think I was the only one in the world who played that game as much as I did. I looked at my Switch hours. I have, obviously, the game that has the most time is Smash. Second game is Clubhouse 51. I played that more than Breath of the motherfucking Wild. What?
Wow.
Yeah. I can't figure out how I logged so many hours in that game. Anyway.
You get lost, man.
Yeah. But yeah, Nintendo is on a roll, even though their 2020 was kind of quiet. Yeah, I don't know. What else? You want to throw your MMO on there, Leo?
Yeah, Ashes of Creation. I'm very excited about that one.
5. Nailed it. Breath of the Wild, fucking Pokemon Snap, Hollow Knight, Silksong, Mario, 3D World Remake, and Ashes of Creation. There you go. Our top 5 most anticipated games.
That was a sad list.
I know.
Hey, publishers, game developers, you guys need to start announcing some shit. Get us pumped up for the year. Come on.
Ooh, yeah.
Damn, we're starting off slow.
2020 had Final Fantasy VII Remake. There was so many amazing games. Fucking Hideo Kojima game was coming out. Death Stranding. There was. What else was coming out? There were so many.
Cyberpunk was really hyped up, but
Cyberpunk. There were so many high-profile games coming out in 2020. It was 2020 is going to be fucking amazing, and it was good. But the only one that was super, even remotely good was 7 Remake.
Yeah. Anyway, plus COVID. Ugh.
Yeah, 2020 sucked.
I could see COVID's probably hindering some of the current year's games because development's been difficult. Everyone's at home trying to develop a game. It's hard to collab.
Well,
it's understandable.
It's not that hard, but I think there was several months where things were put on the back burner and there was people still trying to figure stuff out, and so I think maybe we're feeling the effects of that first few months of quarantine life.
This calendar is very empty. I'm hoping though that we get everyone's been at home working on their own shit. Maybe we get a lot of cool fucking indie games this year.
That would be nice. Yeah, that would be. Actually, you know what? There was an indie game that someone sent me that looks really, really good. But we'll move on, and I'll come back to that.
You guys want to endorse some shit? I can go first.
Yeah.
I got a real simple endorsement. I'm going to endorse the classic trivia quiz show Jeopardy. I've been rewatching or getting back into Jeopardy ever since Alex Trebek's final episode, and now the first guest host, Ken Jennings. He's been doing a pretty good job. He doesn't have Alex's delivery or his speaking voice, but
no one's gonna have it.
No, nobody can compare to Alex, obviously.
Yeah.
But Ken's been doing a good job. They're announcing like this weird lineup of guest hosts, of which I think Katie Couric, the news anchor for the Today Show, she's a guest host. Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, is going to host Jeopardy. So if you want to see that, which I definitely do, you should get back into Jeopardy. Now's a great time. Anyway, it's still Jeopardy. At the end of the day, it's still questions and answers. It's America's favorite quiz show. Watch Jeopardy.
Okay. Well, since you kind of reminded me of something that me and Taryn have been watching, I will endorse something similar. There was a show in the early 2000s or late 90s that I loved called The Weakest Link. There was like some British lady host. I don't remember her name. But it was a good show. The premise is that there's like, a group of players, and every round someone gets eliminated but it's voted on by all the other members, and like whoever's the weakest link gets voted off, and whoever remains wins all the money. That show went away and now has been rebooted with the hilarious Jane Lynch as the hostess. And it is freaking hilarious. She like makes jabs at people in between rounds, and when people try to jab back, she is probably like the wittiest person on earth. So it's pretty freaking hilarious, and we get our little trivia fun by watching and trying to guess the answers. So yeah, it's a really good reboot.
Yeah. Fox also rebooted Name That Tune. We've been watching Name That Tune too. They're rebooting a lot of game shows right now, a lot of trivia shows.
Nice.
That's another good one. If you like music trivia, Name That Tune.
Yeah, I would definitely be into that.
So I started watching something based on a recent experience. My grandmother almost got hacked on her computer by someone. She had one of those things where she went to a browser. The browser made a bunch of noise and said, "Oh, you need to call Microsoft." So she called Microsoft, and it was a guy. And then the guy was asking her for all this like card information and social security, and she called me just to double check. I was like, no, get the guy off the phone. Like, she's like, he's on my computer. I was like,
hang up the phone, Grandma.
I was like, disconnect the internet. So then it got me into watching Get Boga.
Yeah. My wife loves him. My wife loves it.
They are so fucking. I'm sorry, they're just funny because it's so funny how I mean, he does it so perfectly with he has like a voice changer, I guess, and now he acts like he's like an old lady or an old man, and like tricks the people and who are trying to scam him, and then he just fucks with them the whole time, and just
he's so scamming.
Yeah. That
at the time, it's not even he's scamming them, because that would mean he's trying to get money back from them. Yeah, he's like screwing with them
to the point.
Like he feeds them enough to hook them to think that they're really gonna get like someone to do something, to the point where he even has like gift cards and stuff whenever they ask for him. Yeah. But then he starts like doing, like, I watched one the other day where he was like this old couple, and then they thought that he was pretending that the person on the other line had told them to cut the cards, and the person's freaking out like, don't cut the cards. He's like, oh, but it makes sense if I have a $500 card and I cut it up into 20 pieces. And like the person on the other side is freaking out because it's like she knows they have the card, but they're over here cutting the cards, and he's making the noise just cutting cards.
Right. That's good. I like that. Like,
laugh.
I like that premise because the original, like the OG version of that like idea was like some random video. I think it was like pre-YouTube era in like 2006 or something or earlier, where it was like a guy. It's just a recording of a guy talking to a telemarketer, and then a telemarketer calls and asks for the guy by name, and he goes, "Oh, well, I'm actually a detective, and that guy's dead right now on the floor, and we're here to investigate. And like, who are you? Back at the telemarketer, you know?
Are you talking about the Arnold soundboards? I'm Detective John Kimball. Cop, you idiot. Like that.
No, this was like just some dude, and he was like, he just sort of like improv style, completely changed the conversation from like being called by telemarketer to like
the Arnold soundboards on the telemarketers, because those are great.
Like, that was old. Like that was dial up old.
Classic.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Man. Yeah, those go way back. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember listening to some of those where he's like, yeah. I'm a cop. My name is Arnold.
What?
I'm a cop. Like, yeah, just back at the other people, and people would respond like they didn't know.
Yeah, they're like, okay.
So good.
Man, good old days, early internet days.
Classic. Yeah. Classic. All right. Anything else?
Nope. I got bounce. Go help.
Bedtime.
Put an order in before midnight. Yeah.
All right. Our next episode. Oh, what are we doing next? Are we doing bad movies next, or are we doing Siege?
We need to do bad movies because I need to talk about the craziness that I watched for my birthday.
Next episode is going to be it's our first. I think this is our first non-game episode. We're going to be talking movies on our next podcast, and it's specifically bad movies. So if you want to prepare for that, go watch some. Just Google bad movies, and you'll probably find what we're going to talk about.
Come tell us what the worst movie is that you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And we will blow your mind.
All right, so look forward to that show. I think that's it. Good Games Podcast. I'm James.
I'm Leo.
I'm Justin.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
All right. Nice talking. Oh, by the way, I'm going to endorse this probably next episode, but we also started a Rust server for Rust, the game. And it's like Minecraft, but more adult.
Okay. Adult Minecraft. I like that.
That's pretty cool. You should check it out, James.
You start off with the naked body. You're pretty much butt naked.
You're butt naked.
Did I play Rust with you, Leo?
Maybe, because I've had it for years.
I think we played Rust.
Well, now I have my own private server, and we're gonna do fun shit.
All right. Well, maybe Rust is an upcoming episode then too.
It might be. Actually, as I was playing it, I was like, it'd be cool to do an episode on this because, like, after all the changes and stuff, it's a really well-rounded game and a really impressive crafting system. So you should check it out. The details are in the Discord.
All right. Rust Besiege. Got some shows lined up.